Hey, Veritas, man. Oh, dude, I'm gonna have to start a new playlist, I guess, called "Worthless Advice That's Worth What You Paid for It" or something like that. Again, I don't normally give advice out, but since you actually asked for some, um, here you go. I mean, I'm gonna start with some questions actually because um, I don't really know what to tell you to do. It's just like here's some things I'd be thinking of if I were you in your position, right? Uh, Question number one. Okay, so um, and these things really are none of my business, right? So, but they're just some things that I'd be thinking about if I were you, right? So number one is, do you have any student debt, and can you do this whole thing without taking on any student debt? I don't know if you're independently wealthy or what your visible means of support are or something, but jobs and philosophy it's a pretty grim situation right now, and with the way the economy is going and how the war that's being waged on academic pursuits these days. It's only going to get grimmer, right? You have I don't know. I would estimate about a 1 in 10,000 shot of actually getting an academic job as a philosopher. And things really are that bad. There's really not that many positions out there. Um, so, uh, I mean, what was true in Plato's time is really true today. I mean, so people get degrees in philosophy really are those who somebody else is paying for it, right? Either daddy is paying for it, or they're getting lots of scholarships and stuff like that. So it's probably not a good idea to take on student debt to finance this. If you can't do it without borrowing money, then I'd really, really think about it. That's one consideration. Second consideration, okay, right now, I mean, I would advise you not to get married, but you've gotten married, right? So it's like your marriage right now is absolutely the most important thing in your life right now. And I'm saying this as somebody who has been married twice and has gotten a divorce. And I would not wish divorce on anybody. Okay, I've never hated somebody so bad that I wish they would have gotten a divorce. It's the worst thing that ever happened to me. And your marriage is absolutely the most important thing in your life. Okay, so like I said, this is also none of my business really, but it's something really I'd be thinking about if I were you. Okay. Um, First of all, to get a PhD is about 8 years of working about 100 hours a week. Okay, grad school is tough. It's a lot tougher than undergrad school is, and you'll be working a lot harder than you worked in undergrad. So it's about 8 years of working 100 hours a week. And then if you're lucky enough to get an academic position, you've got another 8 years about, maybe a couple years of postdocs, 5 or 6 years of to get tenure, right? And you'll also be working 100 hours a week. So you're looking at roughly 15, 16 years of working 100 hours a week. That's really hard on a marriage to work that hard. Um, and it's very easy to grow apart from your wife during these times. Okay, it's like I was in grad school when my marriage fell apart, and that's one of the reasons was that we just grew apart because I was just working so very hard. So think about it. It's something to think about. Another thing to think about is how do kids fit into this picture, right? Do you want kids? What kind of father do you want to be to these kids, right? You're not going to be spending a lot of time with your kids if you're working 100 hours a week. Um, how engaged do you really want to be in your life? Is your wife going to want to wait 8 years to have kids? Is she going to want to wait 16 years to have kids? Um, these are all questions which I just can't answer, right? So this is something I would be thinking about if I were you, right? But you got to keep your priorities straight, right? And your first priority really is your wife. Okay, so enough of this bogus negativity. Okay, it's like faith, man. It's like forget the naysayers, damn the crow's feet, full speed ahead. Screw all this negativity. Okay, it's like let's talk about what you want to do now. Okay, dreams. Okay, if it's your dream to get a degree in philosophy, okay, you'll never forgive yourself if you don't get a degree in philosophy or at least try. Okay, so it's like definitely go for it. Okay, there's no you know At least try to do it. Okay, you may have to branch off, in the meantime or something, or do some mid-course corrections. But don't let these things stand in your way. Okay, so first piece of concrete, real advice I have for you is, okay, don't worry about the options that you have until you actually have some real options on the table. Okay, so right now you're just thinking about it, right? So what I would advise you to do is apply everywhere. Apply to Talbot's, apply to UT to Austin, apply to Fuller, okay, apply to Harvard and Yale, okay? It's like, the worst they can say is no, and it's like the more options that you have on the table, and until somebody actually says yes, you don't even have an option, right? So, I mean, the worst thing that you could do is, for example, worst case scenario, you say, okay, I'm going to go to UT Boston. You apply to UT Boston and they reject you. And then you can spend a year of your life just, waiting around until you can apply to some other schools, right? Don't let that happen, right? You don't have a year to waste. So it's like, don't sweat this decision too hard until there's actually a decision to make. So get as many pieces of, get as many options as you can. Second of all, whatever Prof MTH said, do that. Okay, that was a good idea to talk to him. He's definitely the best person to talk to you about this, right? And he's the first person I'd go to for advice on this, and not just about academic stuff too, right? If I was making any kind of major life decision, I'd probably talk to him too. He's a sharp guy, right? Okay. Once you have an option, right, go to the best school that you can. Whatever the best school is, go there. You know, it's probably not going to be Talbot. Craig, Moreland, all these guys, okay, they're hot shots now. But remember, okay, we're talking about a project that's going to take the better part of a decade, right? At least 8 years, right? So you can't think about what the world is going to be like now, right? You got to think about what the world is going to be like 8 years from now. What is the scene going to look like then? Is Craig and Moreland going to be big names 8 years from now? I seriously doubt it, okay? If Christianity has any future at all, it's going to look a lot more like something like Rick Warren, right? Than it's going to look like Craig and Moreland, Dembski, and all these guys. Their star is, I mean, they've had their shot, and it's like, I think their star is fading. So, but even at that, okay, you didn't say that you wanted to study theology. Okay, if you wanted to study theology, it would be one thing, right? But you said you wanted philosophy. So if you want to study philosophy, then, you're going to eventually have to go to a school that has philosophy in the title, right? Not theology in the title. So it's probably not Talbot. If you want to do philosophy, that's probably not the way to go. I'd give you different advice if what you want to do is theology. If you want to do theology, what evangelical theology, I would say definitely go to Talbot, or better yet, probably go to someplace like Fuller. But that's just my personal spin. I think probably Fuller would be a better place, but who knows? Anyway, so to sum it up in a nutshell, okay, sum up the advice in a nutshell, okay. So first of all, don't sweat the decision that you have until there's actually a decision to make. Okay, get the options first, right? Get acceptance letters from all these places, okay. Then once you have a dozen or so, colleges who are really good colleges who are just dying to throw you tons of scholarship money, right? And then you'll know what a real decision is to have to make, okay? Good luck, dude. Let us know how it turns out.